Well, hello, hello. Welcome to Pieces That Pat Paints. It is our normal Wednesday, except for I'm a little bit even further behind today than normal. I had a little bit too much fun at the water park yesterday, so I'm a little sore and a little tired. But that's okay. We're moving. We are painting this Malenia. She's really, really looking great. I'm really very, very happy with this so far. Our little bloody cloak looks wonderful. The little rock going up her looks great. All our little fixes look great. We are getting real close. We got to do a little bit of work finishing up this coif here, and then we're going to finish this arm, which I did add a little bit of a magenta wash to kind of the bottom of this, and we're going to come back through and we're going to add a little bit of a dry brush of our flesh tones to bring that all the way back up. And then we're going to get this stuff taken care of, and a little bit of work up here, and then if we're lucky, we're going to move on to working on her head today, and then we're like almost done with this one. It's pretty exciting. I also got our dust down. We were trying to get to this yesterday before we had a calamity and water went everywhere, but this is we made this. It's out of ground soft pastel. If you go back through our videos somewhere, you can find me making it. It's really cool. There's a hair in there I'm trying to get
cats
everywhere.
Hey, and that's also my new coloring book.
Cats, that's right. So we're going cats. The Smithsonian itself published this coloring book. It's really neat. We'll show that off a little later. So if you want to see the new coloring that Kristen is working on for the Work in Progress Wednesdays, you'll have to stick around. Anyway, we don't really need this stuff till we get done moving her around, and we're not quite done doing that yet. So first things first, we're going to throw a little bit of a wash onto this dirt so that we can kind of let it dry while we're doing other things. Also need to find us some music and get us some music to listen to, because it gets really dull just with no music at all.
We don't talk quite enough.
I don't talk quite enough. But here's something. Waiting for the ad to finish up, so you want to listen to that. There were a couple other places I noticed down in here that didn't quite get enough of that wash, so I'm going to kind of reapply while I'm working with it. Maybe two more notches. That was a little loud. That's okay. Okay, now a little bit more water, so we get a little bit more paint. Make sure we got plenty of it. Okay, and remember this, the idea of this is just to help us bring out a little bit of these details so we can drop a dry brush of white over top of all this to kind of emulate the natural fur colors and such. And as such, you don't want it super thick. And I don't want to use a black, because blacks are, it won't look quite right. And it almost gets too dark too fast with a black. And you leave that for things like metals and stuff like that. I'm being real purposeful, getting this in exactly where we want it. And you're going to notice this is starting to take a little bit more of that gray black away too. The gray from the model itself, the primer we put on there. And a little bit of the black from our washes that we were using. Alright. I'm going to let that sit up. And I need just a little bit more of this red, this Azuri Crimson. So we got a couple little touch-ups we need to do right here. But it's not a lot, so I'm not going to actually put any on the palette. I just pulled that straight out of the cap. Right there on the edges. Almost like an edge highlight, you know? Otherwise, you're going to lose it all to that wash. Which we don't really want to do. So, hopefully, I don't think anybody could really see what I was doing there. But, so, with the wash, it got a little bit over some of that. There we go, it focused in for us. And I just brought a little bit of paint in there to kind of line it back out. I'm going to set her over to the side. I'm still having to set like a tube of paint on that lip just to make sure she didn't tip over. So we are definitely going to have to weight it down a little bit. So we'll get to that later on. Probably once we get everything kind of assembled, we have a good idea of exactly where that weight needs to go. Although I feel like you could just weight the whole bottom and it'd probably work. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of this. Okay, so I'm sitting like this. And dry brushing is super simple. If you've got it, especially when you have an actual dry brush. And I'm rubbing, like over here, I'm rubbing a lot of that out, and then I'm even taking a little bit more off on my thumb there, to where it's just a little bit of pigment left, and it's very dry. And then I'm just going to run over the tops of this very lightly. The idea being that we're going to bring back some of that highlight without bringing back too much of it. I think you're having a whole lot of hard time focusing today. It's because it's all the same color. It's like, what am I looking at? Poor camera. I know it's hard, Steve. Keep up with us, buddy. Anybody that's new to watching the show, Steve's my computer. And I talk to him all the time. Because I don't always have the lovely Kristen here down there being cute in her corner. It's usually just me and old Steve-O here. Okay. Yeah. That looks great. And oop, we almost had to focus. It almost focused. I think even without it focusing all the way, you can still see the way it cracks and looks. It looks all rotty, which is the way we want it. So, it is ready to go into its little hole. Make sure we got everything on this hole the way we want it, because it's not. So I'm going to take, this is that raw umber again. And I'm just going to darken up this spot here that would be going up her arm. Completely unnecessary step. But it's important to me. I like to to get that in there and let it be dark. To me, it will help keep the light from bouncing around in there too much and brightening it up, so we don't want it to do that. And it's also going to help it stay a little bit more shaded. And just, you know, in my head, it should be darker in there. Anyway, I'm just being weird, I think. Which is something that does happen. I do not want to set her down like that. That's not something I want to do. Okay. Usually I glue the socket, but this time we're gonna do this. We're gonna glue this. Should be alright. It's just a little peg. And it's not anything load bearing or anything like that. We're just trying to get it to stick on there. So it's gonna make our life super easy. Make sure you set it in the right direction. Make sure that dries before you tilt her back up. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, looks like it's stuck in there now. Good deal. Okay, well. This is dry, not quite. So we're gonna move on to working on this. Now she's got really pretty red hair. You know, all red hair is, it's like actually more like an orange, but we're gonna start off with crimson, and then we're gonna add a vermilion, and then we may even have to come back with an orange. We're going to start off with this red, and then we'll drop a wash in there to get it to pull out the cracks, and then we'll come back with a vermilion. And again, like I said, if we feel like we still need a little bit more, we'll go with a more orange. Gotta have a lighter vermilion it's a way more orangey color. But in all the pictures you see of her hair is like bright as red, like almost fire truck red, which you don't really get that without dyes and stuff in reality. But I mean, this lady's definitely not real. She has a robot arm made out of bronze. It's like a clockwork arm. It's not even like a computerized prosthesis. Don't worry too much about where else you get this paint. We're going to get this hair in first, and then we'll fix all her other stuff. Well, we got lucky. The weird hair thing we had to fix is on the side opposite of its main viewing side, so that's actually really nice for us. It's going to help us hide our repair even more. And again, that came in printed wrong. Had a flaw in the print there that we kind of fixed. Which is why you send it to a professional like me if you're not really inclined for modding building, if you haven't done a lot of this. And you have a cool model and you want to get it painted, I'm probably the way to go. If you want to learn how to paint, then definitely learn how to do it on your own. But if you're like, oh my gosh, I love this sculpture, And I want to get it painted. But I don't have any idea how to do any of this. Send it to me.
I definitely find the building part like a lot more intimidating. Like the times that you printed off little stuff for me and I painted it with your direction, that's not too bad. But like if I had to put it together, that's the line for me. It's like, no, somebody else needs to do that.
There's a lot more in putting them together is very different. There definitely takes a while. So, and this is a number 4. Since we've been using those slashes, this is a number 4 versus rocking, a 3/0, which is, small. And I've got some other sizes, 4s and 5s and whatever have you. Primarily, you don't need this brush for miniature painting. This sculpture is rather large, so it's kind of nice that I have it. It's from a set of, these are a different kind of sable. They're not Kalinsky's. But it wasn't bad. It's a Daco. It's not a bad brush. Wouldn't mind going and looking to see if they have a real Kalinsky sable. Now that I've used their brushes for a while. It's a good price too. It's only $10, no, it's $18. That was a while back, so I'm sure it's changed the price by now. And they'll roll all the way down to 0. They have a 0. A couple other interesting brushes. They had like a crook neck brush. Oh, that thing was like crooked. It was kind of neat. Till the bristles started falling out of it from using it for too much. And I think I let the kids use it and they let it dry out. And kept painting. And that's a big no-no. Especially with a sable brush. Any kind of sable, really. You gotta make sure they stay wet. I'm waiting on that coif to dry. And we're gonna have this guy done by this week. Or gal, I should say. It is a lady. Demigod. You could just say demigod.
You could call her a demigod, but she's definitely a lady.
She is definitely a lady. I guess it would be demigoddess. He got another set of cool models, and so it's gonna be fun to paint those. I know for sure we've got Godfrey, I think is his name. That one's gonna be super cool. He's got like a lion on him, which is gonna be great. I'm excited to work with all those yellows.
Hey, that's what I'm doing.
I'm doing a lion. It'll be fun. And it's gonna look great. It's definitely, from the models he's shown me, it looked like it's gonna be the most challenging to paint. Painting all, because its hair is so wild.
Challenges can definitely be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I thrive for that stuff myself. I'm all about the challenge. I like the way it teaches me to do new things, or to work on maybe a skill I haven't been working on that I really should have been.
Right.
Or just test the limits of my skill as it stands,
Can definitely do all of that. All of that makes me think about coloring those Iron Maiden pictures. Like, it's definitely not anything I ever would set out to do, but it was requested from a friend, and so like I tried my hand at it. I learned so much about coloring doing those. I learned so much.
Yeah. Well, with that, you're learning a lot about like how art in general works, how a drawing works, and how versus how coloring in the drawing works.
Yeah. Oh man, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was like they took the quickest Like they found the guy who could do it the fastest and the cheapest and had him produce things that are almost they pretty much break all the copyrights is what they do. They're breaking the copyright on a piece. So like this model here, they don't have to pay the original maker of this of the game, Squaresoft or whatever it is. That's the name of the company that makes it. I've forgotten. But they don't necessarily have to pay the royalties because they changed this around. They broke enough parts of the original design.
But it was printed on there that it was a licensed coloring book.
Okay, it was licensed by Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Not licensed by the individual artists that made all of the individual posters.
Heard.
That's a completely different story.
I didn't even realize the depth of that. Yeah. I bet a lot of people didn't realize that.
Right. It depends on the contracts that they had with their artists. Is how it really goes down to all of it. I don't know enough about the contracts to tell you exactly what it was. But the way those pictures were drawn, they looked like they were trying to break copyrights.
It almost felt like, to me, somebody put the picture in Photoshop and told Photoshop to turn it into line art.
Right.
And then they didn't do anything to that. They just printed it. That was it.
Printed it straight up. We're done. We're done here. Give me my check. No, and Bruce Dickinson probably was. It's probably him himself. He probably was like, hey, I can do this. He's like that. He's just that kind of a person. Hey, I can do that. He just decided to do it. He's kind of a weirdo. He's a lot of fun, though. Not the biggest Iron Maiden fan in the world, but I know a little bit about it.
The art was very interesting to color, even poorly drawn.
Yeah. Rendered. At that point, it's rendered.
Poorly rendered. Yes. Yes. That is a much better word.
Yeah, because whoever did it wasn't actually like doing original drawings, and it definitely looks like it was computer assisted. So they rendered it. They did kind of do what you're saying, in that they threw it in a Photoshop like program
Right.
and manipulated it. Is the most likely answer to what they did.
It's definitely very different than when you find a coloring book like the one I'm working on today that was actually drawn by an artist.
Yes. Drawn by an artist with the specific purpose to have people color it.
Yep.
I wonder at that Iron Maiden coloring book if anybody actually colored anything in it, or if it was just one of those novelty gifts that you give your friend that likes Iron Maiden.
Well, I colored stuff in it. I
know
felt
you
pretty
did.
proud of that accomplishment.
As you should. Woo! It's a lot of red. She got fiery red hair.
Love it.
25 minutes in.
I love her colors.
Yeah, she's a fantastic model. She's definitely going to be one of my best pieces I've ever done. I'm very, very happy with it.
Yeah, she was very pretty. Turned out really good so far.
Very excited. His hair looks even better painted. Like it was already, I was like, oh, it's going to be really nice. I knew it was going to look great, but it's as good as I imagined. Maybe better.
That's the best. That is good as you imagine.
Well, I can just see from the sculpt lines, I can tell what it's going to look like. But then once you put paint on there, you can really see the ridges even better. See how it was made.
Mm-hmm.
So much of it. Really got to keep moving that around. Find all the angles. Get all the red in. That's why I loosened this paint up. It's not quite washed, but it's very loose, so that it can get into the cracks and such. Now that is red. Straight fiery crimson. Alright, gotta let my hand rest for a sec. Getting a little bit of twinge on my thumb.
Forgot I was gonna get a couple colors that aren't yellow or brown.
Yeah, outline would definitely be that way. Alright. So we gotta start looking at all these fixings. So we got this chain that we'll have to put on there. Couple little burrs. Hopefully we can get those off without too much worry. To work at that, I'll have to do that later. And then there's these couple of these arrows. There's an orc skull in there that doesn't belong in there, but there's 3 arrows, it looks like. And they go, there's little holes that they go in. I don't know why I'm tinkering with this right now. I have other things I should probably be doing. Okay, we're gonna deal with this later. But we do have that stuff. Alright, let's see her. Okay. Alright, now it is a straight white, it's a white fur. So we are going to take this titanium white and we're going to dry brush that on here. Now remember, your white is going to fade a lot. So don't worry too much about it. We're going to take probably 1 or 2 rounds of this to do it. Just going to come back with white in just a few strategic places. Really bring that out. This is really going to help kind of salt and pepper it a little bit, if you will. It's not the overall strikes that you'd get from a dry brush. It's going to give it, you know, that this next layer is going to help build up a little bit more of that white color and help give us those tones, like it's got more going on than just being straight white dry brush. I don't know that it's super easy to see in the... You can kind of tell. And those little white pecks are definitely going to help when it all dries out. Because like I said before, and I'll say again, and I'll keep saying every time I do these programs where we work with white over top of something, the white will fade away. And whatever's underneath will kind of be left out. And you just kind of want to just selective. It's very much like what we did down on the moss on the bottom, if you were watching that. If you haven't, go back and take a look. So we definitely did the base. Oh yeah, she's gonna look outstanding. Saying that dry brush is a more broad movement. It does a little bit more coverage sometimes than you'd like. So coming back and doing that work with an individual brush can sometimes help highlight a little bit more of that dry brush. Ooh, that popped in real nice. So now you can definitely see how that effect works. It definitely looks more fur-like now. Do a little bit more. There we go. And if you wanted to make it look like, seal fur, you would add a little bit of a gray and black to this. Payne's gray would work out great in that. There's a couple different ways you can change up the way you want the fur to look. Take care of any of the white streaks we might have got from the dry brush and continue to tone down this area here for when we put the head on. Man, goodness sakes. Okay, she's looking wonderful. Okay, gotta let that dry. I want to get the hair done before I do anything else on that. I guess we can start working on this face. Putting this dust down on it. Now again, this is made out of ground up pastels. We had a couple of colors, red, brown, and yellow, and mixed them together and made this. And we're just gonna you just kind of rub it on where you want this dust to be. And it will settle itself. So we want to bring this right up to that that mold, but maybe not quite on it. This would be a good time to put in any of our, if we want any plants, we want to do that now. I got a couple of good ones I want to put in some of these holes. These are awesome. They've got a stick on the bottom of them, so it's already got glue on it, and so it'll stick in wherever we want it to go. I kind of want this one to be under this foot, like she stepped on it. And it's just a subtle little thing. This isn't a whole lot of much anything. But it is one of those little small details that's really going to make this whole thing kind of stand out for us. A little bit of extra grass and whatnot. And that right there will keep us from having to dust in underneath that blanket, which is going to be, that's nice. Like I said, this stuff kind of takes care of itself. You're just kind of brushing it on. And it will, that pastel will make it look dusty. Because it's chalk is what you're using. And the chalk will make color on it. And then once we come back and we hit it with a sealer, that stuff, a lot of that will stay on there. But the great thing about it is you rub it off and it leaves the tops of the rocks and stuff. So it has a great look. Especially if you're trying to make that dusty battlefield look, it's the way to go. Alright, you can see how that's got that dust on it now. Looks pretty proper. And you can even dust up. You can dust up her toes a little bit to make it look like she's been running in it. Because she's definitely been running in it. So her feet should be all dusty. We can even dust up the blades a little bit, especially down here at the bottom. That's going to help a little bit with our rust look too, because rusted stuff can look pretty dry. Dry and dusty. Yeah. That's got that dustiness now. So now it's got it definitely is going to look more like she's been running on a dusty plane. I'm going to get a little bit in here. It looks a little bit not done right. Okay. All right. Whoop. Don't crunch that, Pat. And when you clean up is super easy, because it's just chalk, it's just a pastel. So you're just gonna use water and it'll clean right up, no problem. So you can make your own terrain dust with your old leftover pastels if you're doing other kinds of art and stuff. So, and it works great. The terrain dust, awesome thing to have. Let's see, so we got about 20 minutes. All right, almost dry here. Not quite dry enough to throw down a wash yet. We'll block out her head. We can do that. We don't have to wait. Just get the base coats on. We kind of want to wait and do the helmet last. That way we can clean up any of our mistakes. To finish my sentence that I stalled out on. Alright, so I got this first coat. It's going to be splotchy. We're not worried about that. We're just going to get it marked in. And let it start setting up. Shame we don't have any eyes with the size of this. We probably could have put some eyes on her and had them look pretty good. That's alright. Clean up any of my strokes. Alright. And now we're just sitting around waiting for it to dry. Watching paint dry. Man, she's gonna look so great. Super excited to have this project done. Just to see it. Just to see it finished. You can see how that pastel is just gonna make a giant dirtiness on there. But it does clean up with just some water. Voila. Wet towel. Boom, 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 boom. Easy cleanup. Well, I say easy. It is pastel. It'll take a few rounds of cleaning to get that out of there. It makes a pretty big mess. But all right, we're looking pretty good. But you can see the way that powder looks down here. She really does look like she's been running through dirt. I really like adding those plants in. Really, I felt like is going to help make this look more alive, which is of course what we wanted to do. You see a little place where maybe it's a little, oh, that's wet. I'm gonna have to wait. I'll have to do that later. I missed that one little strange spot in the rocks, so I'll have to do that later. Okay. I wish this would hurry up and dry so we could get that wash on here and get moving. It's pretty dang close. We'll start working on up here. Now this is a raw umber that we're going to use here. We're thinning it out a lot. Because we just want to make kind of a wash. We're really trying to find all the cracks and crevices so that we can come back with our other colors and highlight everything back up. We wanted to create a base color, and then the shadows, and then the highlights is the basic idea. Now after that, there's a lot of give and take and some qualifiers and pretty quid pro quos, but the goal is to pull out all those lovely crevices. You can kind of see them coming out there. And then we'll come back and we'll hit those up. It's always a little strange. It looks a little... looks like you're just putting mud on it. And it's like, oh my god, here goes all the red hair. It's like, yeah, it's coming back. Don't worry, I'll be playing Justin Timberlake later. I'm bringing sexy back. Guess I should have made that joke in May, huh? Oof. She's got so much strange weight that, like, you'll grab a part of her head or her body and she'll swing a direction violently in a way that you were not prepared for.
That doesn't sound fun.
It's kind of entertaining. It's exhilarating.
It's an adventure.
It is. Every moment with this model has been an exciting adventure in one way or another. All good things. All good things. All right, we gotta be careful there on that crevice. It's still drying. We'll come back to that in a second. A little bit of me trying to push for time to fill up our hour. We've had 5 people stop by.
Nice.
Nobody said anything, but that's okay. That is totally okay, folks. If you stop by and don't say anything, I don't mind. Especially if, a couple of y'all stuck around and watched for a little while. Big appreciation. Really appreciate it. One day I hope to have a better setup and more people watching, but, one step at a time. We can get my brand of goofballness out here where we'll worry about building it as we go. It's so weird. I spent all my life building a reputation as a great cook. Now I gotta build a whole new reputation. You think you get used to it, but you really don't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's good. We're good enough. I'm trying enough to drop this on it. We can be a little heavier handed on the underneath. That's not going to be exposed to the sun or light source. And this, I'm pretty sure it's a sun. I don't know how many suns because I didn't pay attention. Maybe it's a moon. I don't know. But anyway, it's a light source. All right. All right, that's all washed up, and it's already starting to look better. It's starting to look more like actual hair, and you can see the different strands better. And that's just with the wash. Once we drop the highlights on here, we're really going to see a big difference. Okay. Yeah. We go to part 2 of her base coat for her face. Almost feeling like sticking her head on a stick.
Right? I get that.
I might have to when I go to paint her face, her actual face itself.
Oh.
She definitely has the face of a goddess. They gave her that Greek goddess face. Really important to make sure we got our brush strokes super clean here. So go back and fix them if you have to, because you need those brush strokes to be clean, clean, clean. Do just a little bit of Magenta if we can bring it back to life here. On the lips. Now remember with this, you're only trying to get to the tops of those peaks. You're not trying to get all the way across and into everything. It's lips are very interesting. And you can make them look really bad really fast. And there's no real trick to it. It's just kind of knowing how lips are supposed to look. And then trying to make them look that way. You have to just take that, like I just took a lot of that off with some water. I wasn't really happy with what it was looking like. You can always do it again. Gotta move quick though, don't let it sit around. There we go. Add a little bit of little bit of flesh to that, and that really changed our look here. We are trying to make this soft. We don't want it to be too red per se. Just a soft lip look. And it is probably going to take us more than one layer to get that to come out right. So don't stress it. Now that I've got it on there. Okay, the next layer I'm going to have on there, it'll be a little bit easier. We're also going to need to drop a wash on it, so we'll need to do that. And it looks like we finally made it to that 57 mark, so we need to start shutting down and getting ready to close down for the day. And then we're going to be back tomorrow, finish up her face and head. Here's our current view. She's looking pretty fantastic. Check out that bag. Oh yeah, that looks great. It looks even better in person. It's really hard to see all the textures and everything when you see it on the lives, but it does look really good. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming by. Really appreciate everybody stopping by and watching. And appreciate anybody who comes by and watches it after the fact.
You promised them a view of the lion.
Oh, that's right. We did promise a view of the lion. We got to take a look at the lion. Let's see. Yeah, this is a great one. The artist has done a really good job with the piece.
Yeah.
So it makes it easy to put the color in. And the color will look fantastic when it's all said and done. Colored pencil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, colored pencil. So, come back and see us. Come back and see us tomorrow. If you want to see me painting. And Kristen will be back next week on Wednesday, and she'll have her pretty little lion she's working on. So come see all that stuff. And say hi if you want. And if you don't want, that's okay too. Not say hi. But hopefully you have a great day and a great rest of your week. And we're going to see you in the next one. Talk to you later. Bye.